Sound is a lion make. What is up, y'all? Welcome back. Today, we're finally going to be reviewing the new Westman Atelier skin tint. It's called the Vital Skincare Complexion Drops. $68 for this little 1 ounce container. I want to do, like I said, a complete dedicated deep dive on this, just on my experience with it. We're gonna be talking about the ingredients, the best ways to wear it, expectation versus reality, shade range, everything like that. And I'll give you all my final thoughts at the end. I am going to do a live application of this today, as well as showing you all side by side of this in comparison with another foundation in my collection that I feel like is the most comparable to it. Also, we'll be doing a couple of swatches because there were requests that I swatch this against other super liquidy serum-meets-skin tints that I have in my collection. So I've got the Kosas, the Summer Fridays. So by the time you leave this video, you'll probably know whether this is for you. So let's go ahead and jump in. Alrighty, yeah, I wouldn't typically be filming in, you know, my PJs as it were, but my kid, he loves this sweatshirt and he pulled it out of my drawer this morning and insisted that I put it on, and so that is what I'm wearing today. It's this PE Nation sweatshirt that I cropped it myself, and he just loves the letters. He loves touching them, so. Anyway, let's apply this real quick. And when I say real quick, it is going to be quick. And while we do that, let's talk about expectation versus reality. So first of all, you want to shake this quite a bit because it's silicone free. Always have to set your expectations accordingly with a silicone free formula. It's not going to have the self-leveling qualities. It's not going to have the lightness on the skin. It probably is not going to have bulletproof wear time on it. And there are exceptions to that, but it has disadvantages in the fact that it's working with oils and waxes and water, various emulsifiers, but silicones do add performance. They just add performance. There can be too many silicones in a formula, absolutely, and it can kill performance, but for the most part, dimethicone can really balance these things out. The cyclopentasiloxane, I'm not sure, what are the other ones? Either way, usually formulas benefit from a little bit of silicone, but it can be deemed as like a non-clean ingredient for a luxury clean beauty brand, and so a lot of these higher end ones leave it out. Here's the thing. First of all, they want you to use 3 drops. 2, 3. I think not only is this the best way to use this, I'm gonna cut to the chase, it's the only way to use it, because if you try to build it, it doesn't have the self-leveling qualities of something that does have a silicone in it, and so it just starts to streak, and you have to set the level of coverage yourself with a brush or a sponge or something. And that's not the end of the world, you know, it's not a total deal breaker, but it doesn't have that interesting self-leveling quality that the Kosas does, for example, where you put it on and it kind of transforms. This, there's not a lot of transformation happening. It gets on the skin and it's a nice, slightly thicker serum formula than the Kosas is, but it is still quite liquidy. That little application was about as much as you would put on your entire face. If you try to do more, which I want to do, because it's a very pretty finish, you end up with this finish that isn't really consistent. Like it's streaky, and so you end up, like I said, you'd have to take a sponge or a brush or anything and just kind of spread this out. If you're used to or familiar with other formulas in Westman Atelier's line, you're used to things sort of doing more than you expect them to do. They're greater than the sum of their parts. The formulas have intelligence built into them, especially the sticks and the powder bronzer, in my opinion, that when you put them on, you're like, oh, that's why this is a luxury item. The luxury experience does come across in the finish of this, just in the sense that it is so beautifully luminous. It has this pearlescence to it that reminds me quite a bit of my love, which is the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer Light Revealer. This is, oof, bottle is so dirty, gross. Yeah, I use this a lot. It's always out. It's always top shelf for me. It has this same refractive, light obscuring property to it that's not particularly glittery or shimmery, but it's not a totally smoothed, dewy finish. It's more of a perfected blurred finish without being matte. Now I'm going to stick in the footage here where I applied this side by side with the Laura Mercier. It does have a little more coverage than the Laura Mercier, which I found to be interesting, but you can build the Laura Mercier because it does have silicones in it. So it is apples to oranges in that sense, but only insofar as that matters to you. If having some dimethicone in a formula doesn't bother you at all, this might be a frustrating way to spend your $68 because it's more about the purity of the formula. It's less about the performance to me. And so when I'm wearing this, like, yes, it's absolutely beautiful, but if I'm going to be reaching for something in my collection that has this quality to it and gives me this appearance, I'm going to think of the Laura Mercier first. It has longer wearing properties, it's easier to apply, it feels better on the skin, it's lighter weight, and there is something about the Westman Atelier that I'm conscious of because it is silicone-free, like I said. So another silicone-free formula, for example, is the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. That also, you have a consciousness of it on your skin. So I feel like what I just did was dump all of my caveats on you guys, all the misgivings I've had about this formula so far that may or may not be disappointments to some people, just in the sense of this being like a flexible, high-performance formula. But it's super pretty. It's super pretty. It's very surprising in the sense that I was expecting something that was just a nice serum-y, liquidy skin tint that added a little bit of coverage and was skincare oriented and pretty. I wasn't expecting this gorgeous light reflecting luminosity. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. So there is that about it, but the wear time is not ideal. I do find that if you combine it with obviously the wrong things, it will also kind of diminish the wear time. So you always want to be conscious of the fact that this is, like I said, silicone-free formula. So if you find that it's not really working with a concealer that you have or something that is making it break up, try using something else that is also silicone-free with it. So today I pulled the Saint Cosmetics. I think it's the only silicone-free concealer that I have, but it's also very good. And I'm doing that because a lot of times the different weight of the products, if you use a concealer and a foundation that are a mismatch, the different weight of the products will cause both of them to look like they are underperforming. The other thing, and I'll show y'all, the other thing that I don't totally love about this is that it doesn't really like powder. Even the Westman Atelier powder, it doesn't really like it very much. It is specifically for combination to dry skin types, whereas she specifies that, yeah, I didn't get a lot of coverage, did I? She specifies that the Vital Skin foundation stick is better for all skin types. It's just a lot more concentrated, and it's super coconut oil based, but it is a really lovely cream product that is very versatile, but I don't like to wear it all over my face. So you could use that one as a concealer on top of this if you wanted to be, what would that be, like $140 deep in your complexion routine. But you do end up with something very pretty, right? Like I said, not a ton of coverage, but very perfected and just nice and nourished looking, especially if you do have dry skin. So that's how it looks when it's all on, a minimal amount of concealer there. And that's pretty much what you can expect. Like I said, don't expect building, but seeing my freckles through, but it not turning them gray. That's one of my big pet peeves, is when there's like just the wrong, it's like a mismatch to the coverage and the finish, and it'll make my skin look gray through it. This doesn't do that. It's very comfortable to wear, but it does, like I said, feel like skincare, but it's not as heavy as like the Jones Road. Okay, so before I put on the rest of my makeup, I'm just gonna give you all a chance to look at this, right? And I will swatch it against the things in my collection that I think are worth comparing. I'm gonna make some kind of fat swatches, like I'm going to try and build them just because otherwise there's not gonna be a whole lot to look at. It's like swatching translucent powder or something. Super helpful. Oh, I forgot to mention, it has a smell to it. Not a scent, but it kind of just smells like oil, like cooking oil. a little bit. I don't know, I'll look at the ingredients and let you know, but it does, it smells like oil. It has a very distinct oil smell. Alrighty. Is that helpful at all? I don't think it is. So there's the Westman Atelier built up quite a bit. This right here is actually the Typology skin tint. I would say that they're really similar. This Typology doesn't quite have that luminosity to it, but it's really high performing and it's also silicone free. The next one here is the Kosas, which is also silicone free. It is a very thin tinted oil, kind of the original thin tinted oil. And you see, it doesn't really dry down. It is just more of a thin oil that your skin kind of absorbs, but it stays movable all the time. And the Typology does set, not in like a long wearing way, but it changes texture once it dries down on your skin. And the Westman Atelier is somewhere in the middle. Oh, that's right, and the Summer Fridays. It's somewhere in the middle. It doesn't completely dry down, but it doesn't stay weird and like almost you can feel the particles of it moving around when you touch it the way that the Kosas does. And that's not a knock on the Kosas, but it's a very unique formula. It acts like skincare, where if it breaks up, you can mend it and it doesn't show any harsh lines or anything. And this, I do feel like if you put powder on it or things like that, it's gonna like break up. It behaves enough like makeup that it will show performance flaws if you combine it with the wrong things. So then we have, do we khaki? We have the Glossier skin tint, which is basically just a texture on the skin, a nice, pretty glossed texture on the skin, but it does have silicone in it. The Summer Fridays, I actually don't know if it has silicones in it. I would guess no, just because it is so thin. I could be wrong though, I don't actually know because it's very new to my collection, but about the same coverage level, but it does have a touch more buildability because it seems to dry down a little bit more on its own, but I mean, negligibly so. And then right here, I have that Laura Mercier that is so low coverage. Like it's ridiculously low coverage, but it has that gorgeous luminosity to it. But the Laura Mercier does more with less. Does that make sense? I feel like it doesn't need the coverage in order to still do its blurring, perfecting job. I know it's because of the silicones. It's just lighter on the skin. And then I swear I can like feel this on my skin right now. This is the Jones Road. I know you can hardly even see it, but that's the Jones Road What the Foundation. And it's like the most like skincare out of any of them, but it's so beautiful. It's still so beautiful. I love that stuff, but it's almost like the Westman Atelier is halfway in between, oddly. I mean, I know they're very, very disparate, but if you were to draw a spectrum between the Jones Road and its weird, like thick, lotiony, nothing else is like it kind of formula, all the way to something that is quite a makeup, you know? Laura Mercier is well known for their skin tints, their tinted moisturizers, being these beautiful, high-performing, skin-perfecting, all-in-one skin tint things. Somewhere in the middle there, in terms of like unconventionality versus performance, is the Westman Atelier. Arbitrary scale of coverage, I would give it a 2. It's very pretty, but it does not offer like a lot of buildability or a lot of flexibility to the formula. It's not gonna adapt to whatever you want it to do. You know, you're not gonna get a full beat out of this. It doesn't have the performance to it for that, in my opinion. Okay, I'm going to zoom through the rest of my routine so that I don't bore you with it, but I am going to apply some powder so that you can see what it does when you put powder on it. Hey, who's that stealing the big bone? The big, big bone. to the Westman Atelier website and contextualize this within the claims that they're making. As I said before, it's $68 and this is 1 ounce, even though it is in a very streamlined little package, right? 20 shades for a very low coverage skin tint, you know, sure. Fine. And Atelier N is actually the lightest shade, so I have the second lightest shade. The claims. Clean beauty ingredients. Ginseng extract, sunflower and almond oil blend. I think that's what I smell, is just the oil blend. Urban Shield Complex protects against pollution and blue light. Pomegranate extract neutralizes free radicals, supports healthy looking skin. Subaki oil firms, hydrates, and retexturizes. And ginger root complex calms and soothes instantly and over time. I think they meant over time, not over time. The first ingredient in this, if this helps to give you guys an understanding of what it feels like, the first ingredient is squalane. Squalane is an ingredient, it is an oil that is supposed to be a balancing oil where, you know, it's not necessarily going to be the super heavy fatty oil. It's a very lightweight kind of funny, dry feeling oil in my experience. But the way that squalane seems to communicate with my skin, and this might be for everybody, is that, you know how when they say that you've been in a drought and the ground doesn't know how to receive water, and so you end up with flooding because the ground isn't used to absorbing water, and so when you do get a ton of rain, it just stays on the surface and washes right off. That's how squalane kind of feels on my skin. It never really totally sinks in. It just kind of stays like soupy and movable, and I'm very conscious of it. And being the first ingredient in this formula, that's a big explainer for how it feels. Mica is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the 6th ingredient. And that's what's giving it this luminous quality. But I want y'all to see, and this is the Westman Atelier powder that I used on top of it, so it's quite white. And also it's not meant to be used underneath the eyes. I put it under my eyes before I realized that. I forgot about that. But it does help to show y'all, it helps to illuminate, as it were, maybe the disadvantages of having mica that high up in a formula that doesn't have a whole lot of other stabilizers to it. It starts to, I don't know, break up in a way that looks like you have powdered maybe like a liquid highlighter or something. It's a little too soupy to support powder in that way. It like doesn't soak it up properly, and it doesn't maintain the integrity of the emulsion of the formula. It starts to break up pretty instantly when you put powder on it. You can really see it kind of around here. Anywhere that I have dry spots, I mean, granted, this is a super aggressive dry spot that I'm trying to treat, but favors are not happening here. It's pretty, and it's a really brilliant concept. I'm just not totally sure about the execution of it. Like, I'm not saying you can't make it look great, but for $68 and the standard that Westman Atelier has drawn in my mind, I think I wanted a little bit more. So let's keep reading. Light to medium coverage is what they say it's best for. It's best for dry, normal, and combination skin. We do not recommend for oily skin types due to radiant, dewy finish. To reduce excess shine, use Vital Skin Pressed Skincare Powder. That is what I used today, and I still don't think that they really go together. It's kind of like when Kosas released their tinted oil as their first product. They came out with a bunch of other really dewy, balmy products, and then they started releasing like a powder bronzer and a finishing powder, and it just all felt a little bit strange in the context of that being their complexion product. When they came out with the Revealer Concealer and the Revealer Foundation, it made a heck of a lot more sense. But the fact that they're suggesting that you use these two things together, it feels like a reach for me. The bronzer that I used today is the Westman Atelier bronzer, and something about it is conducive with working with a formula like this. It is a magical, amazing bronzer that will buff on anything, and I don't understand how they did it. It's like it floats over your skin. It's amazing stuff. But Their finishing powder is not like that. And I do feel like it is exposing the weaknesses of this formula. More than I expected it to, for sure. Apply after the last step of your regular skincare routine, first step of your makeup routine. Shake well before use, dispense drops into fingertips and blend onto skin. As you would a moisturizer or a serum. For more refined finish, use the liquid blender brush. For added coverage, use the Vital Skin Foundation to conceal and spot check. So they are suggesting that like this does not build. If you want it to build, you need to be using the Westman Atelier stick. That thing is pretty darn awesome at building. And it says to set and reduce excess shine, use the Vital Skin Pressed Powder. The period after opening is 12 months and its shelf life is 36 months, which is not something I typically mention, but on clean formulas, that usually means that they're not using really, really heavy duty preservatives in the formula. And so the oils and things like that will tend to go rancid a little bit more quickly. And so it's always worth pointing out, but they are claiming that it will last a year after opening. Makeup that works with your skin, not over it. Okay. Complexion boosting drops give breathable coverage and radiance while improving bare skin quality. Loaded with skincare actives at efficacy levels. That is the big claim here, is that it's not just ingredients, it's ingredients at efficacy levels, like skincare efficacy levels. This deeply nourishing formula instantly hydrates, evens tone, and soothes. Drop by drop, our Skin Vitality Complex improves texture, firmness, and radiance with Tsubaki oil, ginseng, and pomegranate extract. Skin is smoother, feels healthier, and acts younger. Each drop glides on like lightweight oil and transforms into a cushiony serum for a dewy facial fresh skin long after it's washed off. Dermatologist tested, non-comedogenic, best for dry normal combination skin types. Our bottle is made partially from recycled sugarcane, a renewable resource that reduces our carbon footprint, 100% BPA and phthalate free. So the claim as to the skincare and skincare strength ingredients, that is one thing that I don't know, I hesitate to mention it because it's so ultra personal, but it's another caveat that is kind of worth pointing out, even if it's not everybody's experience when you're talking about clean formulas, because you can tend to get swept away in those claims of these are really pure ingredients, they're very natural ingredients, they are at efficacy levels, it's going to behave like skincare. Does skincare, any skincare product, work for everybody? No. And the fact that it is communicating with your skin per the claims, it goes with your skin, not over it. I don't think it's a stretch to say that there is as much of a possibility of this making your skin mad as there is of it making your skin happy, versus something that is very silicone based that does sit on top of the skin, so to speak, I guess on like a molecular level, and doesn't necessarily have like all these skincare ingredients that are claiming to communicate with your skin. Those are going to probably be less irritating. Like most people that I have talked to who have used the like MAC face and body, for example, like it's so synthetic. It's kind of like Oreos being vegan. It's because there's nothing real in it. There's nothing natural in it. And for that reason, it doesn't tend to break you out because it's not communing with your skin in any way. It's just there and it does beautiful things and then it washes off. The fact that this is non-comedogenic, sure, but the ingredients are so pure. I've noticed that it kind of POs my skin. Like it kind of ticks it off. This dry spot has really emerged since I've started using this. Obviously I'm having some hormonal issues as well, but my skin isn't really healing as quickly. It's not maintaining and balancing its own moisture barrier as well. I don't feel as protected when I wear this. Makeup to me on the day basically like will help heal my skin usually, because the combination of something acting as a shield on my skin and then the powder balancing everything out, using some kind of finishing spray that has some skincare ingredients in it, what have you, it tends to keep me from picking, it tends to protect me from the sun a little bit, and it also tends to kind of give my skin a chance to hibernate underneath the makeup and calm itself the same way that it does like overnight or anything like that, but without being bothered by actives. Sure, maybe some of those ingredients are the kinds of ingredients that you put in your regular skincare and they're beneficial to you. Your skin loves them, what have you. But I don't tend to wear very high efficacy skincare on my skin during the day, and I almost think that that's a good thing sometimes. So, I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but it's kind of like what Hiram says about essential oils. It's not that every essential oil is evil, it's just that an essential oil is so concentrated that if it does irritate your skin, it's going to irritate your skin exponentially because it has been distilled down and it is such a pure version of it on your skin. So, like I said, it's just as likely that it's gonna really irritate your skin, even though this doesn't have essential oils in it, but that the ingredients would irritate your skin than they would to really benefit it and make it happy. And I have noticed that I am less inclined to reach for this, and I want to reach for something like my Laura Mercier instead. Not just because of the performance, but also because I do feel like the ingredients are a little bit less than beneficial for my skin. It just doesn't seem to garner the benefits that the claims would purport. And I just want to throw that out there because I'm not saying that like there's some kind of, you know, toxic, universally allergic causing ingredient here. It's just that you might be more likely to be sensitized to these kinds of ingredients than synthetics. It's just something worth pointing out. Gucci's notes: start with a few drops on your hand and glide onto skin with your fingertips like you would a face serum or sheer tint. For super refined finish, I use a liquid blender brush. And like I said, it does have a little trouble on its own making a very even finish. It doesn't really have a self-leveling quality to it, and so you do need something that's going to set the finish for you. So doing it with your fingers is a little bit tedious. You want to use a brush or a sponge or something. There is that to it. Once I've soothed redness or blotchiness with complexion drops, I go with Vital Skin Foundation Stick to neutralize darkness under the eyes and correct pigmented spots. As a finishing touch, I sweep Vital Press Powder anywhere I want to take down shine or help coverage to really last. So I almost feel like the directions on this are apologizing for the formula, apologizing for the shortcomings of the performance. They're like, hey, if you want coverage, use something else. If you want mattification, use something else. If you want a really good finish on it, use something, use something to really give it that finish. It's not going to do it on its own. And to me, that's not worth, at the end of the day, a $68 price tag for a skin tint. And if you are looking for something that is silicone free, granted, it doesn't have 20 shades, but the Typology skin tint, the serum tint, there's a reason it sells out all the time. This is a very high performing skin tint, and I think it's like $35, like half the price basically. And it's phenomenal. It's so beautiful. It doesn't give your skin that almost like iridescent luminosity, but A, I feel like you could accomplish that with something else. And B, I'm actually not sure that a silicone-free formula should have this much mica in it, because the mica is almost too heavy for the other ingredients and the emulsifiers in the formula. And so it's almost going to look like it's breaking up on you just in and of itself. It's like it needs the silicones like this, or to be in a finishing spray kind of delivery system like the Tula Signature Glow, in order for that kind of luminosity to serve its purpose of being perfecting instead of kind of coming back around on itself and making your makeup perform less optimally. So these are all criticisms that I can't help but put through the lens of how expensive this product is. You know, if it were a drugstore product, I'd be like, sure, you know, use it as a primer. Like, if it's not your ideal thing, mix it with something, whatever. Like, the performance is okay, but you know, you can make it work kind of thing. But that's not the claim here. And to me, actually, I feel like I projected better claims onto it than they're really giving. All the caveats that are supplied in the instructions and in Gucci's notes for how to use it, they just tell me this is an incomplete thought. It's an incomplete product. They want you to be able to accommodate the shortcomings of the formula with other things, be it a tool or another product. So yeah, I mean, there's something really wonderful to me about being able to give y'all clear thoughts on something that does, at the end of the day, save you money. That doesn't mean that you're going to hate this product. That doesn't mean that I think that this is an ugly face of makeup. I just know, not even I think, but I know better things exist on the market, especially for the price, but regardless of the price, there are better things on the market for what this is purporting to do. So Typology for a skin tint that is silicone free and super high performing, gorgeous, and a lot better price. And if you want that really beautiful luminosity and you want it to perform a little bit better and you don't mind silicones, Laura Mercier. They took the octinoxate out. That's why I originally bought this, because I did like their other ones, but I can't wear octinoxate. And I hope that they continue to take octinoxate out of their future skin tint formulas, their tinted moisturizers, because this is just such a high performing formula. All of its iterations are very, very high performing, and this also has sunscreen in it. I don't know if that matters to most people, but it is all a chemical sunscreen. But I really adore the, like, what they're going after with the either mica or synthetic fluoroflogopite or whatever, which is like a synthetic mica. It makes a difference. I love the appearance of it, but it has to be done right. And I feel like it's done right here. If you don't want that, this also has that beautiful luminosity to it, the signature glow. Love it. I just love it. I'm so dumb about it. I like it so much though. But anyway, yeah, there are better ways to get this kind of effect on the skin. You don't need to spend $68 on a little skin tint from Westman Atelier, and I'm sorry, because I do love me some Westman Atelier. I do. I really, really do. There are some very impressive products in their line. I just don't think this one's worth it. The stakes are high, you know, when something's that expensive, and I just want to give you guys the full story. I hope this was helpful for y'all. If it was, do give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you did. I hear tiny slappy feet of a 2-year-old running around downstairs, so I'm going to go join my son. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Subscribe if you haven't already. A tiny boy? Simon! Angel! Thank you!
I went to every single room looking for you.
Oh my God, I love you so much. Hey, Copper. Ow! Oh!
Hi.
Yes?
How?
What?
How?
Yeah?
How?
Oh, you put it back? That's so nice! I love your attempts at organizing the room that is actually a nightmare. Can I have a kiss?
No.
No!
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh no, he's under my desk.
Shy guy.
What are you doing? Oh. Does that go there? Oh, okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, he's found a highlighter. Oh, hello. Hello. Hello.
No.
Hello.
No.
Hello, is Simon there?
Hello.
Hello.
Bubbles.
Bubbles.
Baba.
Bubbles?
Baba.
Oh, bottle.
Baba.
Baba. Blood bubbles.
Where is she going to get other?
Come here, I love you so much. Come here, I love you. Come here. I love you. Come here. I love you. Bubbles.
No.
Oh no.
Babies.
It is a baby.
Mama.
Yes. Oh.
Bubbles.
Bubbles?
Bubbles.
Bubbles.
Cat.
Mm-hmm.
Cat.
Mm-hmm.
Cat.
Mm-hmm.
Baby.
You're a baby.
Dada.
Dada.
Cat.
Mm-hmm. Mascara.
Dada.
Yeah? Oh yeah. That's cool. Sound does a lion make? Oh no!
I know.
Oh no! Can I have a kiss? Oh, can I have a kiss?
Bye.
Okay, bye.
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 Dada.
You're not leaving. You're just saying bye.
Hey.
I love you, Angel. That was fun. Bye.